enough.
Welcome, everyone, to Chop on the Top, episode 14. The other title, we'll let William tell you about it in a few minutes. My name is Blake, RJ Davis, North Carolina Tar Heel Basketball Robertson, and this is William.
Festivus has come early this year. And I said Festivus.
What's your last name?
Quabble.
There you go.
But you remember the show Seinfeld,
Yes.
the celebration of
I
Festivus.
remember Festivus with the rest of us.
Yes, but how does it start?
Can't remember that.
It starts with the airing of the grievances. And I've got a few grievances after last night. That was awful last night. I think we all know what I'm talking about. Tennessee Vols lose on the road in
By
Athens.
the way, can I mention just one thing?
Yes.
Look at this haircut.
Well, that actually looks pretty damn good.
God,
I'm
most-
not gonna lie.
Woo!
That looks pretty
Looks
good.
looks like Sting from 1990.
It really does. No,
Wrong
way.
Sting. You're thinking about a different Sting.
Probably.
What Sting are you thinking about?
Don't worry about it.
The singer?
Don't worry about it. The sword from Lord of the Rings.
Back.
Yeah.
Oh, my poses. That was way off.
I know that was the whole point, but man, my hair looks pretty okay too.
Back to the dogs.
Back to the
Got him. You about said it too.
last night in Athens. What was the one thing? What has been the one consistent thing I have said on the show all year for the Tennessee
You're
team?
excited.
What was the other thing? What is
60
Tennessee?
minutes.
Yes, 60-minute games. We are just completely incapable. We have no clue. We have no idea how to play a complete 60-minute game of college football. We have no idea. Yes, we went up 10-0, but then it's like we forgot about the rest of the game. We were up 10-0 after the first quarter, and it's like the rest of the three quarters didn't matter.
Mm-hmm. I bet you were pretty fired up, pretty excited at that first quarter, weren't you?
Yes.
You were already singing Rocky Top, weren't you?
I was humming along. I was humming along with the band.
Yeah.
But
I was singing Rocky Top. But not in the fourth quarter.
I don't think so. You haven't sung the Seminole song all year,
No,
so
I have
sit
not.
down, be quiet.
Actually, I did because I'm that kind of guy. I'm still going to do the chop.
Valid.
Even if we suck this bad.
Valid. That's absolutely true.
9 more months to do it again, so.
Yeah, we will get to y'all in a minute.
No, we're not.
To your
Right over.
in a minute. But back to, the thing that really I noticed last night is how we played against Carson Beck and how he's played the entire year. When you make Carson Beck look like prime Tom Brady,
Not really.
But you get the point. He looked really good last night. I would say that is his first good game in maybe a month and a half, 2 months.
Maybe so.
The difference is, and again, I slept on it before I made any final judgments. I went back, watched the highlights too.
Did you have any strings or knives near you while you slept?
No.
Good.
No, I had
Probably
dogs. I had dogs.
Yeah.
I needed to snuggle. I needed my
Said
baby.
this live on YouTube.
I needed my baby girl.
Okay.
But I noticed something. We could not, for the life of us, get to Carson Beck. Do you notice how Ole Miss did it?
Yeah.
Ole Miss made his life miserable, and he sucked.
Mm-hmm.
You noticed how other teams have gotten to him, and he sucked. What does that tell you as a defense?
I would say I would think Kirby Smart makes some adjustments for him to
Oh,
keep
I
him protected.
oh, I definitely don't disagree with that. But I think going in, I think everybody thought we had a better defense than Ole Miss, or just
I
at that
mean,
level.
that's a good point. But I will say Kirby Smart's that kind of coach that once they lose a game one week, that they're not probably going to. When's the last time they lost 2 in a row? I think it's been at least 4 years.
Give or take,
Yeah,
yeah.
they definitely didn't do it in the national championship years. And then
No.
last year, I think the only loss they had were one in the regular season in the championship game against Alabama. So
No. I think they lost to Bama. That was it.
okay, either way.
Yeah, they lost to Bama. That was it. Because
Okay, but I'm saying they have not lost back-to-back games since whatever year it was before they
yeah,
went 2 national
exactly.
championships. And that's impressive in itself.
Yes,
So that means Kirby Smart is not letting them lose twice in a row. So really, it would have taken a massive performance by Tennessee to win
Oh,
that
I
game.
absolutely think that, and I absolutely would agree that it would have taken a massive performance. A performance we are capable of when we play our style of football.
Well, you want to pick at the right time. Maybe the right times in December.
Yes, but this was a must-win for us.
No, it wasn't. You're in the playoffs.
That's a whole.
It was a must-win for Georgia.
Oh,
if Georgia would have lost this game, they would not be in the playoffs.
I do agree with
and
that.
Honestly, you may not agree with this, but if they lose to Georgia Tech, they're out of the playoffs again.
Or to UMass.
Well, they're not losing to UMass.
No, they're not losing to UMass.
Calm down. Just calm down.
I'm saying hypothetically.
If they lose to UMass, I will eat something really bad on this show next week or 2 weeks from now, whatever that is.
Oh, so somebody will actually break that Florida State curse?
No, we're not eating something like that. You can give me something I would never eat in my life. We'll discuss it. If they lose to UMass Saturday, we'll discuss this and I'll eat something real bad on here. Not, you know what I'm saying? Something I never would eat normally.
We'll discuss that moving on. But no, I think, and I also
noticed. We're not going to discuss it because it's not happening.
Another thing. Heupel's play calling to me on occasion seemed too conservative at times.
I didn't watch that closely, but
they were almost, it just felt like a bunch of screens.
I just want to let you know, I had 2 Red Bulls and Mountain Dew and ice cream last night while I'm watching your game. So, yeah, I was a little excited.
I had Chick-fil-A. And the Georgia cow bit me in the rear end.
Yep.
Sometimes you eat the opponent, sometimes it beats you.
But the opponent beat you last night.
But I noticed our play calling at times was too inconsistent.
Yeah.
Was too soft. We were almost too scared to take the deep shot.
Right.
Shot. And that's what we need to focus on.
Shot.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. But no, I think we definitely need to play more aggressive and to play a full 60-minute game. Yes, you're right. The playoffs are a possibility, but they're not, I wouldn't say a guarantee yet. But I want to see what other teams around us can do. Well, there are some good other quality teams. I mean, yeah, we lost at Georgia, but how much does that loss at Arkansas hurt us?
Okay, not much. You're going to lose 2 spots. You're going to be number 9.
Valid. Maybe 3.
Come Tuesday night.
Yes. We have other games to discuss.
You okay over here?
It was a long night last night. It was a long last 2 nights.
What about the night before? What happened then? You're fired up?
I was watching the fights.
Oh, yeah, the awful pay-per-view we heard. Oh, my gosh. Wasn't very good. Who won the fight?
I wouldn't say anybody won the fight.
I guess everybody lost, the fighters and us.
Yeah, well, no, the fighters won. The fighters got
the money
paid big time. But no, Jake Paul did defeat Mike Tyson in a match that, as the match went on, the fight went on, you're like, this looks so staged.
Oh, I kind of figured that.
I mean, I will say,
might as well put in a go on Peacock and look at WrestleMania 3. It's a lot better than what you would have thought.
My cats have better fights than that one was.
Hogan and Andre the Giant, that would be a lot better than Mike Tyson and Jake Paul.
You want a good boxing match? Look up 1985's Hagler Hearns.
No, I'll go with Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier.
That's another good one. But if you
That's a great one, not good.
That's a great one, yes. But if you want to see two guys just beat the daylights out of each other, Hagler Hearns.
Oh no! What do you think they did in Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier? What about Foreman and Frazier? Foreman and Ali.
Have you ever seen Hagler?
The rope-a-dope.
Well,
what do you think got Ali sick that fight?
Valid. Moving on. There were other games
of note.
Boy, a team that speaking of teams that joined us on the struggle bus but somehow won, the Ducks continue to dominate.
We were right about that game. We said it was going to be a struggle. And might actually pick the score right. 16-13. One of us said 16.
I think so.
So
I was close. I was hoping the Badgers would squeak it out.
Yeah.
But no, Oregon's a good team. They know how to win. But boy, Wisconsin is always that team in Madison. When they play at Madison at night, it's always it's a different energy. It's a different aura.
But I think we both agree because they're undefeated. They say number one. Well, we'll have to find out.
We'll find out.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. I just think Wisconsin had no quarterback, so they're kind of like us at Florida State but plus 5 more wins than we got. But I believe when you go into Madison, Camp Randall on a Saturday night, it's kind of not nowhere near like it is at Death Valley, but it is pretty impressive, and it's tough to win there anytime. But Oregon found out that there is still strength left in the schedule that they have, and they barely got out of there just because Oregon, Wisconsin can't play offense.
No, they can't. No, Wisconsin's quarterback was like 12 of 28 for less than 100 yards and a touchdown and an interception.
There wasn't a lot of big games left. Colorado has now been helped by a loss by BYU to Kansas, and also now they're tied in the Big 12.
That'll be interesting.
But I think Colorado is now the best team in the Big 12 by far.
Yes.
And I think Travis Hunter is the number one man for the Heisman.
I would still go with the guy from Boise State.
Okay.
But I think it's one of those, it's a 1A, 1B situation. I think what's going to put Hunter over the top is that Travis Hunter played a better schedule against better competition.
I just noticed.
What?
New Mexico beat Washington State.
Yeah.
So that's it. Washington State done.
Yes.
Boise State and Army, really the only two, Army and Tulane and Boise State are the 3 teams left, and that's it.
Yes.
Okay, who are you pulling for in those 3? Pulling for, not picking, pulling for.
Give me the Broncos.
We're going for Army. That was our team from the beginning.
I'm a Navy guy.
You jumped off the bandwagon already on us?
On the bandwagon. I'm a Navy guy. Salute to the Navy.
Oh, God.
Navy blue and gold all day.
Looking at these top 25 games.
Cheer for Army.
Another upset, Arizona State takes Kansas State out. Kansas State had a slim chance to get back into the playoffs, but they're done.
No, see you bye, take a hikes.
But like I said before, we have a team sneaking up the ladder that could possibly, it will take a lot of help this week, next 2 weeks or 3 weeks in the championship games. South Carolina could sneak into the playoffs. If they beat Clemson, could sneak into the playoffs. No.
I love the enthusiasm. I really do. But no.
But they've beat a lot of good teams. Would you agree?
They have. They've had a decent season.
Decent season. This is South Carolina. It's like the greatest season they've had since 1950. Sorry.
And they are a hot team.
Look at these teams they beat. They barely lost. Ole Miss got blew out. They got a close loss at LSU. Then they beat a close loss at Alabama. Then lately they beat A&M, Vanderbilt, pretty impressive win, and a win against Missouri. So if they go down to Death Valley and win on the last game of the regular season, they're gonna have an argument.
I think they'll have an argument, but I think they will be sitting.
This is the weekend of the upsets.
It really was.
The Florida Gators in the swamp. Guess who called that? Thank you. I hate to say it.
I hate LSU.
But what that means for that game next Saturday on Thanksgiving Saturday night, wherever that game is and what time. You know what's sad about this Saturday is we don't even have a game on TV. Our game's not even on TV this Saturday. Florida State and Charleston Southern.
Yeah.
It's not even televised. But anyway, I'm ready to cry. Anyway,
I was crying all night Saturday. I don't want to hear it.
well, this is worse. You haven't won the playoffs.
Oh no, you're on ESPN Plus.
That's not a TV channel.
Exactly.
But Stanford takes Louisville out of the playoff picture with a win, and what's their city name? Palmetto, something like that. Palmetto, yeah, Palmetto. I was almost there, and then.
But you hear how that game ended?
Field goal.
Well, apparently, from my understanding, Louisville had all their timeouts, had the ball, first down, less than a minute to go, and lost in regulation.
Yeah, there you go.
It was because on fourth down, there was an unsportsmanlike conduct.
Oh, okay.
That gave Stanford a free 15, and then Louisville jumped off sides in the ensuing.
Did they do it like that? Offsides.
And it made a field goal very much more manageable.
Okay. Then in Dallas Saturday night, SMU stays undefeated in the ACC.
Jerseys, and it looked good.
Well, we're not going to call it yet. This is like the election now. We're not calling it yet. They still have to win one more game to go to Charlotte.
I would agree, yes.
Because Miami and Clemson are tied. Clemson beat Pitt barely. We call that kind of Saturday night. A close game by Pitt.
Lubnick got like a 50-yard run to win it.
Clemson's done in the ACC at 7-1. We got I think the tiebreaker in the ACC is going to be the highest ranked team.
I think it is. I'm
totally
sure.
And Clemson, a win, like we just said a minute ago, a win for South Carolina in that rivalry game. It's big.
It would end Clemson right there.
Right. But a win by Clemson over South Carolina is going to help them out a lot in the rankings.
Yes.
And depending on what Miami does, which they have two stinky games, Wake Forest and Syracuse. So it looks like it's going to be a tie at the end.
Yes.
In the ACC.
Let's see what else happened.
Tulane Green Wave stay in the hunt for the Power Five.
No, they're going to the AAC championship game versus Army.
That game's already been made. Mostly because the Navy Army game is a non-conference game. We already complained about that, but anyway, we're not going to do it again. We're not going to do it again.
I was going to see. Ohio State went to Wrigley and took care of business.
Yeah. Like I said, the bye week.
I didn't realize that was at Wrigley Field until after we shot last week.
We weren't joking about the bye week, were we?
No.
And Texas went down to Fayetteville and barely got out of there with a win, 20-10 on the road.
It was, I think actually.
It's still barely.
Yeah. I mean, Fayetteville's a tough place to play. I know.
Scary place to play.
Scary place to play. It was a tough one. Texas took care of business, did what they needed to do. They just got to beat A&M now.
That's right. We'll talk about that next week. And then also now looking into some of the rapid fire round games. You got Liberty went on the road, like we talked about, and barely beat UMass. The Flames with a big win. There was a lot of games this week where teams played cupcake games. And it'll be again like that again this Saturday.
The boot. Golden Boot is going to Fort Collins as they beat Wyoming. Colorado State beats Wyoming. And so
there you go. And Illinois gets back on track with a 38-16 win over Sparty at home.
Yes.
And they go for the first time since 01 at home 6-0.
Yes, or undefeated or not.
Whatever that was.
6 wins at home. Yes.
And Syracuse goes on the road.
Beats Cal.
Syracuse has got that's the last roadblock for Miami. They got to go to Syracuse and next weekend on Thanksgiving weekend. That's going to be a decision maker game for the Charlotte ACC title game.
Penn State beat Purdue.
Yeah, I skipped that for a reason.
There was none.
Wasn't much to talk about there.
Notre Dame is back to
same thing with that one. I didn't have. I thought we know they got Army this Saturday. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
USC beat Nebraska.
You didn't put Army. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
Already go off on you. That's it.
The Rams are going to Memphis. 53-18 over UAB.
You mentioned that last week.
Yes.
Did I say anything about that?
That you did not care.
That's right.
Or more like, I did not know that was such a thing.
Homecoming in Chapel Hill. Carolina goes bowl eligible as he beat Wake Forest in a pretty good game. Still think Mac Brown, this is his last year at Carolina.
Still can't win the state title.
No. And they'll probably lose the state in 2 weeks.
But Duke can't. Boise keeps rolling, 42-21
Well,
San Jose State. No surprise there. Rutgers beat Maryland. In a rivalry game I didn't realize last week.
Please tell us.
James Madison beat Old Dominion in the Royal Rumble.
No way. Don't do that to me. Don't say that to me. That's copyright. I'm calling Vince. Get Vince on the phone. Now get Triple H on the phone. You can't call that the Royal Rumble.
I may have misspoke, and it might be called something else.
It has to be. You can't do that.
Royal rivalry.
Okay. You're going to say. You can't call it the Royal Rumble.
I was close.
It's something bigger than that.
It was close.
It happens every January.
What's wrestling? Exactly.
What'd you say?
What's wrestling?
Royal Rumble sells out millions, thousands of people every year. How many people do they go to that game?
Never seen it.
You're missing out. Don't knock it till you watched it, son.
Valid.
Dog.
Valid.
All right. That's our rapid round.
You're just calling me dog. Just to.
You're the dog.
Hey, Gator.
Screw the Gators. You know they won. It made me sound good.
So
on to the top 5.
Do you want me to start, or want me to
It's good for you to start this week. Unless you have you're the one that matters the most. Me, I'm just hanging out.
You're just hanging out and living the vibes. Okay, for my top 5, number 1, I've got Texas. We've had Oregon up there for about a month now. I just think the way they played in Madison, I think Texas played better this weekend on the road. So I'm putting them at number 1, but only slightly ahead of my number 2 team, which is Oregon. The Ducks are number 2 because they are still undefeated. They're like Indiana is as well. I was going to say the only
Army.
I was going to say Power 4.
Well, include Army in there. Don't leave Army out.
I'm a Navy guy. I'll always leave Army out.
Well, we're not leaving Army out in this show.
Fine.
They're undefeated.
I said fine.
Don't be like ESPN.
I'm ESPN to the core.
No, you're not.
But that being said, I got Oregon number 2.
The Ducks.
After they struggled in Madison, I'm putting the Longhorns just slightly above them. But it's a very close 1-2. Number 3, I got Indiana. The Hoosiers have been playing good. They've been
feeling good.
Beating people, taking names.
Well,
I'd say something else, but this is an adult show.
Kid show. If you're an adult show, you can say it.
That's the joke. It just went over your head.
I didn't think it was a joke. Go on.
Number 4, and this one's going to surprise some people. Notre Dame. Notre Dame has rode their ship. They have been an offensive
fighter. They don't play anybody. Go ahead.
Valid. That is also true. But
they don't play any true road games.
To me, no, they're Irish fans everywhere.
And they just play in non-conference. I mean, they play in neutral sites.
Valid, yeah. But number 5, Ohio State.
Buckeyes. You got Indiana over Ohio State.
Yes.
That's interesting.
I'm a pot stir.
Yeah.
I like
game Saturday night. Saturday afternoon.
But those are my top 5 teams. What you got?
Well, unlike Mr. Quibble over here, I got Oregon at number 1 still because they're undefeated. That's all that matters at this point in time. They'll be the number 1 seed in the playoffs unless they lose the championship game to whoever they play. And they should win their next game, which is not again. We might have a bye this week, but they got Washington on Thanksgiving weekend.
Confirm, yes, Oregon does have a
bye. So they got one more game left. They're in the play. They're in the Big Ten title game, no matter what. They just need to decide who they play. And My number 2 team in the country is Ohio State. I told you early on that I was not impressed with who they played, but recently they played. They beat Penn State on the road, and they got a real chance to really secure themselves this week at home against Indiana. I got them at number 3, and Indiana's number 3 because they're undefeated. I think that earns them the shot to. And I like to see 2 and 3 going against each other Saturday morning in Buckeye Nation, because it will be Saturday morning there at 11 o'clock.
Saturday afternoon. Or is it in Bloomington?
No,
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Both Ohio and Indiana are both in the Eastern time zone.
Good. I'm glad with that. I don't want to, and honestly, it should be a primetime game. But anyway.
But we digress. We've had that argument.
We're not going to argue about that.
I wouldn't even say it's an argument because we both agree.
Yeah, that's right. And then
the big noon kickoff.
All right. So Texas is number 4. No real reason, just because they beat Georgia. Wait a minute. Flip it. Georgia's number 4. They beat Texas. So I'm changing my ranking right now. It's on the board. It's Texas, Georgia, going back to Georgia at number 4. They just looked really good against Tennessee, and they proved once again. Well, it's true. They look really good.
I'm not disagreeing.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm giving you a dirty look.
Let's go, Dogs! Woo!
Hurt.
Deeply.
Right in the soul.
This man was not happy Saturday night at all.
It's broken.
And then number 5 is Texas. No real reason, just because I think they're the 5th best team maybe in the country. We'll find all this out. It's going to all come together coming up. We're coming down to the rubber meets the road time of year. Now we're going to look up the standings in the top 4 conferences and go ahead and break that down as we start ready to break down the next to last week of the regular season. Can you believe that? It's already coming down to the final games.
I know, right? I'm in a hoodie or I'm in a sweater.
You weren't in the sweater in game 1, were you?
No, it was hot. We in the South.
We in the dirty South, Briggs.
Barely. Well. So, the standings.
Start off in the ACC.
In the Atlantic Coast, where we are.
It's only 3 teams.
It is a 3-team race. It is a 3-horse race.
One team has come to the finish line.
A 1-horse race, a 1 tiger race, and 1 tropical depression.
Mm-hmm. Well,
see what I did there?
I'm fine with that. That's fine, because they are tropical depressions. They suck.
Clemson does not play Miami. That is the problem.
Right, but the tiebreaker is the ranking.
Here's the thing.
The highest ranked team goes to Charlotte.
Here's the thing. Oh, Miami still has 2 ACC games.
Right.
Clemson has none.
Right.
Clemson
might play the biggest, most important thing. They got South Carolina.
SMU has 2 ACC games.
Right.
So they're just going to sit and watch.
No, they got to play.
Well, you know what I mean, though. They don't have any other ACC games left.
Oh, you're talking about Clemson.
I'm talking about Clemson. I'm talking about the Tigers. They just have to sit back.
Pronouns, pal.
It's plural. Team. They'll need to sit there and just relax and wait and see what happens with the other team. Because there's a situation SMU could miss out.
There's a great situation. They could lose both games.
They lose both games, they're out.
I think if they lose one game, they may be out. But it's another thing, another day.
Let's see.
We'll find out about that later. This weekend, if they lose.
Yeah, it's crazy. The top 3 teams in the ACC, there's no head-to-head.
Why don't we have a triple threat match for the ACC title? Let's put the full field and then have another field on this side and then go battle it out. That'd be great.
Not like a cricket pitch.
No, like wrestling.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Nothing makes sense in this world anymore.
Cricket. No, we know what it does now, but Donald Trump's president.
Everybody see a circle, the big oval. You got your wickets.
He didn't even recognize what I said, did you?
You got your wickets. You got the oval.
All right, let's go on to the next conference. Big 12. To the Big 12.
To the Big 12. Okay.
On to the Big 12.
Okay, I'll shut up now.
Where
that is a mess. That is a total mess.
I think we have a 14 race, because I think all 4 teams have 2 games left, with Colorado and Arizona State playing. Oh boy, BYU and Arizona State playing this Saturday night.
Yes. I think that is, to
afternoon,
me, is a Big 12 semifinal.
which yes, very important. Who does Iowa State play anybody of importance?
I can look.
We're going to look.
They play Utah and Kansas State.
Okay, they got a tough schedule, so
Well,
I'm saying they're not going to
Farmageddon.
win both those games.
They got to play Farmageddon. But
Farmageddon.
Farmageddon's at home.
What does that mean?
It's the game between Iowa State and Kansas State. It's called Farmageddon because those are two big farming schools, big agricultural schools. It's called Farmageddon. I'm a nerd.
But it's good. I mean, it's just crazy that you know this.
Let's see. BYU has left Arizona State and Houston.
Which is pretty much means they win Saturday, they're going to the playoffs. Well, we can't say that because they just lost to Kansas. So never mind. Erase what I just said.
Except here's the thing. Colorado's trying to play Kansas.
Sweet.
But this time it's in Lawrence.
Wow.
Lawrence. And then they play Oklahoma State. So we'll see what
It's
happens.
going to be an interesting 2 weeks in the Big 12.
I still think it's going to be Colorado and BYU.
I'm going to disagree because we're going to do that in a minute. But I'll tell you in a minute.
Valid.
All right, moving on to the Big 10, which pretty much stand alone what they have to have here. Oregon is undefeated. Indiana is undefeated. There's no way Penn State sneaks in now, I think.
No.
But I do believe that Ohio State, Indiana, the winner of that game is in.
To me, as a semifinal, winner will get Oregon and Indy.
Indiana finishes with, let's see who they finish with.
Indiana finishes with Purdue.
Purdue, that's a win.
That is a win.
I saw that today, that's right. And then, of course, Ohio State finishes.
Bucket game.
Yep.
Bucket game, yes.
And then, of course, Ohio State finished with Michigan. That's in the Big House, right?
I didn't know that.
Where's that at?
I didn't know that.
Yes, you did. We're clicking on, we already know. But I can't remember where it's at. That's all.
Oh, no, I'm trying to get it to work.
Get it to work. Get it to work.
No, it's in Columbus. It's in the show.
Okay, so they got 2 home games back to back.
And
of course, Big Ten will do that for them.
Ohio State it's already been confirmed. Ohio State is a 10-point favorite against Michigan.
If Day does not beat Michigan this time, that place is going to riot.
I think he will be fired.
And they won't make the playoffs. And they won't make the Big Ten title game.
Okay.
Even if they win Saturday afternoon, and go to play that game and lose that game, Indiana goes to the playoff tournament championship game. That's wild.
I got a hot take, and I don't know if I want to sit on it or if I want to say it now. Do you want me to go ahead and say it?
Yeah.
If by some weird coincidence, grace of God, miracle, whatever you want to call it, intercession, if Michigan is to win that game in Columbus, Day is fired that day.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. He is fired immediately after the game.
On the spot. You're fired.
He's fired on the spot.
This is where I do my mention, man. You're fired. Woo!
Do you agree? But in all seriousness,
I don't agree.
You don't think?
Don't be today on the same day. They're going to finish the season at least. The bowl game.
I mean, there will definitely be calls for him to be fired.
Well, if they win this Saturday and lose that game, they're in the playoffs.
So you say if they beat Indiana,
they're in the playoffs with 1 win. Either win, they're in the playoffs.
Okay.
If they beat Indiana, they're surely in the playoffs. Michigan will knock them out of the playoffs. That's still not a horrible loss. All right, moving on to the SEC. Moving on to the next. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, maybe.
We'll talk about that.
Especially next week.
It would help if I hit the right buttons.
SEC.
Yes.
How do you spell SEC?
Karen. Same way you spell Karen.
How do you spell Donald Trump? Woo! USA. Go ahead.
So again,
this is wild. Look at all these chances. There's a I wonder if there's a chance any of these teams could make the game.
Tennessee will not make it.
So you're saying you believe it's down to Georgia, A&M, and Texas?
I think it'll be Georgia versus because Georgia's SEC schedule is done.
Right.
because they have a cupcake game, and then they have clean old fashioned hate against Tech.
Right.
We still have to play Vanderbilt.
Okay.
That's normally in most years it's a guarantee. I'm not saying it's a full-on guarantee, but it's a likely win.
When we come into the show Wednesday, we're going to know. We don't have to know all this. Who's got going where?
Yeah, well, Texas. Obviously, the winner of Texas and A&M are going to Atlanta.
Right.
And they'll be in the playoff regardless.
And Georgia beat Texas, so they get that tiebreaker.
Yes.
Georgia beat Tennessee. They have, I almost say yes. You're right. If whoever wins that game is going to the title game.
To play Georgia.
I think that's it. That's to break it down right now. Georgia's in Atlanta.
I mean, this is another. And may I rewind back?
I will say this: Alabama has beaten Georgia. They lost to y'all, so I guess that's
no. They're done. They're done.
All right. Okay. So we're saying Texas and A&M on Thanksgiving Friday night will be the most. Is that on Friday? Game day won't even get to go there, right? They'll probably end up going there. They're probably end up going two places that weekend.
No, it is on Friday. Or right. No, it is on Saturday.
Okay, so they'll go. I mean, that's easily game day now.
That'll be at Kyle Field.
Right.
Unless they go to Clemson.
They're going to if that's game, they could play twice in a row.
Let's see.
If A&M wins, they play. No, either way, they're playing Georgia. Whoever wins, they're playing Georgia.
I don't know what the tiebreakers are at this point.
I think we're right. Georgia's in.
Georgia, and may I rewind back a little bit to our game on Saturday? This is also why I'm really pissed about what happened on Saturday. We had a chance. We had a chance. Not only for us to play in Atlanta, we could have slammed the door in the faces of at least 4 or 5 teams. We could have slammed the door on Ole Miss. We could have slammed the door on Alabama. We could have slammed the door on Georgia. Yes, may I help you?
They're going to the playoffs. There's no slamming the door. They can still win the whole thing.
But you know what I mean.
Would you rather have the SEC title or the big one?
Both.
We can't have both.
Both.
I think it's getting to the point like it is in college basketball now, where like Carolina has not won both in 4 titles.
But you know,
Duke's never. I don't know how many times Duke's won both.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Where we had the chance to shut so many people out of the playoff if we had beaten Georgia.
All right.
I mean, we could have taken care of Alabama. We could have taken care of Ole Miss. We would definitely knock Georgia out. I mean, we let so many teams crawl back in with this loss.
And I think we just said that they're not back in. Which one is it?
No, but I'm saying is we've given them a sliver, even the sliverest of hopes.
No, Georgia's in.
But that's what I'm saying. If we had beaten Georgia, we would have slammed that door on their SEC tournament and their playoff hope. And we could have honestly slammed the door on Alabama, Ole Miss.
Moving on to the top games for next week. This is exciting. Down the stretch. Down the stretch they come.
Do you want to start with the game? Or where is game day? Does anybody know?
Game day's in Ohio State.
Has it been confirmed?
Yeah, they're in Ohio State. Why wouldn't they be in Ohio State?
Let's look that up.
Anyway, let's start with Indiana, Ohio State.
Yes, it will be.
I think
confirmed.
Amazingly, Indiana is going to the playoffs this year, whether they win. Well, I take that back. If they lose this game, then the proof's not in. But if they win this game, they're in the playoffs, regardless of what happens. And they're going to the Big Ten title game. No one, and I mean no one, said that to start the year. But isn't that amazing that the Hoosiers have a chance to play for a national championship? Forget conference title, national title. Yes. And they might host a playoff game in Indiana.
In Bloomington.
Wow. That's supposed to be basketball, and they definitely ain't doing that. But anyway, I still think Ohio State wins because they're just a smidge better team. But I think it's going to be coming close, coming down to 3-point game at the end, and they have to kick a field goal to win.
You think it's awesome because. But so back to what you were saying. Yes, if Indiana loses this game, they're out of the Big Ten. Honestly. If they lose this game close, like you say they will be in the playoff. If Ohio State, if Indiana goes to Columbus and just gets absolutely doormatted.
Which they won't.
which I don't think they will. I don't think they will. I
They
don't
got
see
confidence. Confidence goes a long way.
confidence does, and they've had a damn good year. But if
Exactly. Indiana, that's the greatest year they ever had.
it is the greatest year in school history. But if they go down there and just get the doors blown off of them, lose by 30 something, they'll be out of the playoff. Because that'll be such a bad loss. The saving grace to them, it is in Columbus. It is at the shoe. ESPN has Ohio State at a minus 11.5 spread. I think Ohio State wins, but doesn't cover that spread.
I agree.
I think it'll be somewhere between that 3 and 7 range.
I think it could be a knockdown drag out. Low scoring.
I agree.
20-17.
Give me 2027 Ohio State.
Moving on to the Big 12, where it's going to be the semifinal, like we said before. The BYU Cougars heading down to Sun Devils Stadium. It used to be, anyways. You get to play the Arizona State Sun Devils. And I believe because BYU's coming off a rough loss, I like BYU as a team, but I just think that they should not have let that happen against Kansas. So I'm saying this is even tougher. Arizona State's playing pretty good ball too, and I think the Sun Devils win in a high-scoring affair, 35-31.
I think we need to get those forks up.
I agree.
Get those forks up. I think Arizona State smells Cougar blood in the water.
Yeah.
That just sounded so wrong.
Yeah, it did.
It did sound wrong, but you got the point.
Let's get a little rough out of here.
With that being said, I think Arizona State has been playing very good ball. Very, very good ball. I mean, their last loss was at Cincinnati, and their other loss was at Texas Tech. They have not lost at home all year.
They will not again.
They will not again. ESPN Bet has them at 3.5 favorites.
That's fair.
I think it's going to be 31-24, forks up, Sun Devils.
And then we have a big game. Is that in the South Bend?
No, that is at Yankee Stadium.
Even more reason why I had to pick Army to beat Notre Dame. I know I picked Navy to beat Notre Dame the last time they played at a service academy, and that didn't turn out well. But I don't care. Army wins 30-30. This is my field goal. This is my drop kick game of the week. 17-16 Army. Screwed Notre Dame.
Not so fast. Here come the Irish. Much as it pains me to say that, as much as it hurts my soul to say it, Notre Dame has wrote their ship. They have turned it around. Everything's losing to Northern Illinois, but still, they have turned it around. They have responded. Somewhat responded. But they're winning convincingly. Yes, it was against weak opposition, but they're getting it done. They are getting it done. Has Army even played anybody themselves?
Undefeated. Doesn't matter.
I think Oregon undefeated versus Army undefeated are two different things.
I agree.
I mean, what was the toughest game of the year for Army?
Nothing.
Last week against North Texas.
Right. Moving on to the Pac-12 title game, as it were. Oregon State, Washington State. Washington State had a shot to go to the playoffs until they lost last week. So now I'm picking Oregon State at home this week to beat Washington State and really just drive it in and win the Pac-12 title for the first time in Oregon State history.
I don't think that's actually how it works.
I know.
Okay.
I like to joke about that.
I still think Washington State gets it done.
Okay.
Oregon State's 4-6 by the end.
Go Beavers! Chop, 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 chop. Whatever they do.
Fight for Washington State.
Then we head. Now you're going to talk about that one.
Next, a game that's very special to me.
It's not special to you.
Let me talk. The FIU Panthers go up to Georgia to play Kennesaw State. This game is important. I have two friends. I have a friend that went to FIU, and my brother went to Kennesaw. They actually share the same birthday. day. My brother is 3 hours older than this guy. I kid you not. With that being said, speaking of the knockout, drag-out fights.
Where you going? You gonna pick the winner?
I'm picking a winner. So I am making this my dropkick game of the week. We gotta have a little fun on this show.
Go ahead and get excited. Make all these people care.
Absolutely, all 3 fans of each school. Let's see what the spread is. Like, oh Lord. Florida Atlantic is an 8-point favorite.
Take me home, country road.
West Virginia's not even involved. I don't know.
That's right. I don't know what I'm doing this time.
You are just absolutely poor.
At some point, somebody got to sing.
Give me my drop kick game of the week. Kennesaw State 21, FIU 20.
Right.
Hootie Hoo Owls.
Once again, another game I don't understand why it got on here. California and Stanford play, what's it called?
Battle for the Axe.
The Axe. Not Larry the Axe Henning, but the Axe.
In the ACC game
of the week. It's on. What's his name? Their number 1 crew's going to be there. It's crazy to think this is ACC football. But anyways, I think Stanford comes off their big upset win and wins again this Saturday against California in the rivalry game. I don't care about the score.
Not so fast. No. Cal gets it done. The Axe is going to Berkeley. 24-17 Cal.
Never have I ever talked so much about California football. But anyways, my friend William will be in LA for this next one, the rivalry game, UCLA against USC. And just because, who you pulling for that game? You're going to be a UCLA friend, right?
So I'm going to be blunt. I'm going to come out and say it. I grew up a USC football fan. Growing up as a kid, I mean, think about it. I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
I was in my 8 to 12 range when Pete Carroll and the dynasty was taking over.
The dynasty.
When it was the era of the Trojan horse, when I first started knowing what college football really was.
Right.
With that being said, I will be staying with people who went to UCLA.
You were a USC fan when you grew up. How many teams you had in your life?
I'd rather not answer that.
Probably a lot.
Again,
can you count it on 2 hands? Can you count it on 1 hand?
The 5th.
Okay. You had a 5th before you got on here?
Taking the 5th Amendment.
Oh. Second.
USC is a 5-point favorite.
That's all.
Only a 5-point favorite on NBC. With that being said,
ratings are falling as we speak.
As we continue, give me the Bruins.
Give me the Bruins too. Dropkick game of the week for me. I don't care about the score. Go ahead.
I just can't wait to be there, see the sights.
Yeah, that's the main thing. And what are you going to do? We're going to try. You got to get
117
touchdown.
Eagles to inbound.
You got to go somewhere and try to talk about our podcast when you go out there.
Definitely will try to.
Do your best, sir. But a lot of good games coming up. Now we're going to go get some
college hoops on.
No, we're going to go quick tempo on a couple more college football games for Saturday.
Oh.
There may not be any. Well, we're going to look anyways.
I'm switching gears. We're switching gears.
Switching gears.
We don't know what's going on.
All right, Miami at home against Wake Forest. Do you think Miami stays in the race?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be something if the Demon Deacons go in there and wipe them out?
I would laugh.
I laugh. Man, that'd be so good. Screw Miami. And then Ole Miss has got an interesting matchup Saturday night in Gainesville. Do I dare pick the upset? Why did you put this on the list?
I didn't think about it.
But that's crazy. Florida's on a roll heading into the big rivalry game against Florida State. Don't let them look ahead. Woo! I tell you right now. But Ole Miss is looking good, sitting pretty as they are in the playoffs right now.
They'll be fine.
But guess what? I'm going Florida Gators again at home in the swamp to beat Ole Miss. screw the Rebels, and screw Jackson Dart, whatever his name is. It doesn't matter what his name is. I know I hate the Gators, but just because it's Ole Miss, let's go Gators.
I think Hottie Toddy rolls on. Oh, we forgot about a game in Tallahassee.
No, we didn't.
Florida State will get their second win of the season, and this man will be absolutely elated.
No, it won't.
Bullshit.
No, it won't.
Bull.
You about cussed. Isn't that something? It's a kid's show. Ain't no more kid-friendly faces than these two right here. Wouldn't you agree?
Sure.
Anyways.
Does Minnesota pull the upset against Penn State?
I think it's going to be like it was in Camp Randall on Saturday night for Oregon. But I think Penn State, this is going to be why do you put these on the list? You put Kennesaw State over games that actually are in contention for the playoffs on the list. I'm going to start making a list.
Send me a list by.
You wait to put them on the list now. It's over now. You can't do it now. Don't put them on the list now. I'm gonna tell Franklin on Saturday when I go up to Minnesota, you to put them on the list. And then we have SMU on the road with a chance to maybe clinch the conference title game. We got to put the tiebreaker, but I still think that's the game. I felt
the list.
Right. I feel like that's the game that could cause SMU even more problems. And they had kind of a tough time Saturday at home. But Virginia's had a pretty good year. They've got 2 games left to go to get to the bowl game. And I think I'm going to go with the upset here. The Cavaliers knock off SMU to cause hectic in the ACC in a 3-way tie. And for some reason, I feel like I need to do this. Go Hoos.
No. How about no?
Then we have my hat eating game of the week. If Minnesota, or whatever I say, the something I'm gonna eat, no matter what it is, whatever William chooses for me to eat. If Massachusetts beat Georgia Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, but I don't think it's gonna happen. The spread there is 43 for Georgia.
Texas.
Do you think Georgia covers the spread?
No.
You think UMass? Okay, I agree with that. 43 is a lot of points.
40.
You didn't even talk about your game this week. You never forgot about your game?
Oh, yes. UTEP.
Oh, Lord.
As my friend puts it, it'll be over by halftime. And of course,
that's what you hope. You might have a little hangover.
Nah.
The spread in this game is 41.5. I'm saying UTEP. I'm saying Tennessee doesn't cover.
That's fine. Here's the thing with me, though. I will say this. Have you noticed 90% of Tennessee's games have been in that 7 to 8 window?
I have.
The one time we play at 1 o'clock, we have a day game. I am on the damn West Coast.
You got to give it 10 o'clock to watch it.
It's going to be a 10 o'clock kickoff for me. I'll probably watch the first half because we'll be driving from probably up to Pasadena during that time.
What time is that game? 3:30?
The UCLA game?
Yeah.
7:30 Pacific.
All right.
So 10:30. But I think we're doing some stuff on the way up to Pasadena.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, that's exciting. Texas and Kentucky. Will Texas look ahead? Will this be a trap game? Is your favorite? You're saying
it has the makings of a trap game.
Kentucky has played some good road games this year.
It does have trap game on it. I don't think Texas will fall for that trap.
I think they could, but I think it's going to be a 17-point win for Texas. They will not cover.
I think I would be more concerned if this game was in Lexington, but it's not.
Right. All right. Colorado goes to Lawrence, where the death of BYU almost happened last Saturday. So now will Colorado suffer the same fate? I'm saying no, because they're playing about as good a football as anybody's playing in the country right now.
Yeah, I say no.
Well, Clemson, I ain't got a spread for Clemson, so they'll say ain't gonna talk about it. Pitt and Louisville. Pitt goes on the road to Louisville. Louisville's been struggling, and Pitt just barely lost to Clemson. I got Louisville winning at home.
I got DeVille. A game I'd like to see. I want to make a second game of the game.
I know what this is going to be.
UConn and Syracuse. What do you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say Wyoming and Boise State.
No, Wyoming's going to get killed.
Wyoming's 2-8. You talk like they're just the greatest team ever.
I almost went to Wyoming.
You told us that.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama goes on the road. Do they look ahead before they play their great rivalry game against Auburn next week? I'm saying no. I think Alabama does the job, goes on the road, blows out Oklahoma, and sends Vrabel or whatever his name, Venerable, maybe packing.
Nah, Venable's not getting fired. I think the school's already confirmed.
You know what? Who is fired? You're fired.
I thought you were going to say Brian Kelly. Boy, I don't think he's going to get fired, but his seat's getting incredibly hot in Baton Rouge.
All right.
If they lose at home to Vanderbilt, there will be calls for him to be fired.
I agree. There already are. We got another question for you. Does the game Saturday in Auburn become a trap game for the Aggies who are on the precipice of going to the title game?
Yes, that is my textbook trap game. You're like, oh Lord, what did I just do?
We open up the can of trap worms.
You opened up that can of worms. I'm not putting it back in. I think yes. I think Auburn might get it done. I don't know. Auburn's been too Jekyll and Hyde for me this year to say either way.
A&M's got one loss, right, in the SEC.
In the SEC,
so they could actually lose this game and still go to Atlanta.
Possibly.
You know what? I'm picking Auburn too. I want to see calamity all throughout this week. I want A&M to lose this week and win next week. To have everybody with 2 losses going into to decide, have to flip a coin to go to Atlanta.
Get them.
How about a 6-way tie?
Get them.
For regular season title.
I heard, and this is just a rumor.
I think it's probably a rumor.
That if that many teams finish 6-2,
they're gonna have a 6-way matchup in a Hell in a Cell.
Based on just throw the mascots out there. That'd be funnier.
6-way tie. 6-way tie. Chant, do it. 6-way tie. 6-way tie. It's so bad.
See, we'd still be screwed.
But please, God.
From what I've heard, if there is a 6-way tie at 2 losses, it'll be LSU and Alabama.
Hey, if this happens, next week's show, 6-way tie, episode 15, 6-way tie week.
Absolutely.
God, so excited.
It won't happen.
Well, you know, we can all dream.
We can all dream. We can all.
Rapid fire round time. As we head down the road to close to the end of the regular season, NC State travels to Atlanta on Thursday night football. I think Georgia Tech wins again.
I'll be too jet lagged to care.
Do you think that Georgia Tech next year could jump into the race for the title?
That's too early to tell.
Well, I'm just thinking out loud.
Just an idea, maybe. I think they will beat State.
Purdue travels to Sparty. Is that an exciting game for us? No.
No, give us Sparty.
Florida State loses to Charleston Southern.
No, I think y'all beat Charleston Southern, and
you can't. There's no way.
If you lose to Charleston Southern,
I don't even want to go on. I hope I get to watch it. Where do you recommend me trying to watch that game at? We're on the plus too.
Wherever you can cry in a corner after.
Appalachian State has a home game against James Madison. Let's go Mountaineers.
Nah, give me James Madison, Dukes.
We're talking about Kansas. We're talking about it again.
It's a day hell broke loose just north of Mayweather. You're like, oh Lord.
Look at this game right here. Northwestern, Michigan. Northwestern's only 1 game back overall behind Michigan. Look at that.
Michigan.
Who called that at the start of the year?
Michigan.
We're coming down to a point now where most of these games don't really matter anymore. That's good though, because we're going to focus on the main games coming up next week. And that's probably it for a rapid fire round, unless you want to talk about Utah and Iowa State, which whatever. Iowa State's got a chance to get into the playoffs, chance to get back into the Big 12 title game, but they won't. Duke has a home game against Virginia Tech. Duke's had a great year. If they win the last 2 games, they're 9-3. That's a pretty good season for the Duke Blue Devils.
I think they'll be 10.
Yeah, who do they play next week? Wake? Yeah, play Wake. Next question. All right, that's the college football matchups. Now it's time to talk a little ACC or college basketball as we head toward the Thanksgiving weekend tournaments. We're not going to be live next Monday. We're going to try to go live for a Thanksgiving Day special. And we're going to have a Wednesday night special for y'all next week. And before we sit in front of the table and eat Thanksgiving with our families.
We'll be eating butternut squash. or faux turkey. I'm decided.
How you spell folk? Be careful how you say that on the microphone here.
You're trying to get me to drill.
That's right.
Let's.
But we had Carolina played American Friday night, and I thought Carolina, he's going to give me the slow clap. But I think Carolina, if they
Why
have-
was that?
have a team, y'all played every high school team out there already.
We
We went to Lawrence.
haven't played Bishop Sycamore.
That's right. It's going to come up. But anyways, y'all got a tough schedule this week. There's nothing about it. We'll get that in a minute. But I think Carolina looked really good Friday. I know it's against American, but I think if you look at the game, like no basketball, look and see what to look for in a basketball game. I think Carolina has a team that has got a little bit of everything in it. They've got size, they've got great guard play, they can shoot, they can play defense, and they attention to detail on defense. I think they figured out against Kansas if they play defense, this team can win it all this year. And then we play a weird time game on Friday morning in Honolulu, Hawaii against the Rainbows as we head toward Maui. And I think Carolina goes in there. May has a little trouble, but I think they'll end up winning the game.
Oh, I can watch it at a reasonable time.
Yeah, you'll be in the West Coast.
I'll be on the West Coast. I'll be watching it 9:30 at
Right.
night.
And then the fun part, go ahead and pull up the Maui tournament. Then the fun week starts next week. We will probably not go live until after the Carolina game if they play for the title on Wednesday evening at 5:00. I think my goal for the Maui for Carolina is to win 2 games. I don't care about winning the title per se because I don't think it matters to win the title. It does matter.
None of these tournaments matter to me.
Well, you got a point there, but it is a good stepping stone, good barometer of where your team is, especially when in Carolina, where they're getting ready to play 2 great teams probably in Maui. They could play Auburn or Iowa State. Dayton's not a pushover by any means. And then they play Auburn or Iowa State in the next game. And if they play for the title, they get guaranteed if he gets. Look at that bracket. It's going to be UConn playing in the title game out of that bracket. I don't care who wins the title. No prediction for the championship. I just think Carolina needs to win 2 games.
UConn.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen them play this year either, so I don't know. Have you seen them play?
I haven't watched that much basketball.
Well,
to be frank.
Go ahead and talk about Duke real quick, and I'll look up.
Duke's got two tough games this week. They play Arizona and Kansas. Yes, Arizona did lose. I will admit I did have the Wisconsin-Arizona game on Friday on my iPad while watching the fight. But I was paying more attention to the fights.
Well, she ended up being a mistake.
It's not, the undercard fights were good, actually. I will give you that. The undercard fights were good, other than the Serrano decision.
Who?
Taylor did not win that fight.
Are you high about this? UConn's schedule as of now. They played Sacred Heart, New Hampshire, and someone called Limon. If you touch them just right, they Limon. Oh God!
Back to what I was
This
saying.
is just too much.
Back to what I was saying.
Which is very important, what you're saying.
Duke has 2 tough games coming up. They need to rebound against Kentucky. They did the other day on Saturday against Wofford.
The Terriers.
A team that Carolina seems to can't beat.
Anything big this year. 35 points.
We manhandled.
I'll tell you, I'm a quick take. It's going to be Carolina and Duke in the final game this year, as long as they're not in the same bracket. You know what I'm talking about in the Final Four bracket.
Yeah.
That's my prediction for the final game. I think we both can do it.
If Cooper Flag can stop up.
Well, that's
Cribbage.
also I think Shire's got to figure out a different way to use him.
Yes.
Because against Kentucky, he turned the ball over twice, and that's what cost him the game.
Let's see. Yeah, so we actually go
Yeah, because y'all played them at home last year.
Yeah, we go to Tucson. I don't think the Kansas game is. No, the Kansas game's in Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas!
Thank you, Elvis. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ross. Oh.
What's your day job, Mr.
Yeah.
Elvis impersonator?
I'm not got the wrong color here.
There's this thing called hair now.
You're talking about my singing. All right, we done with the breakdown of college. Let's go ahead and pass up some of these other things. We are looking forward to the college football games coming up. Because of time, we're going to go ahead and move on to a little NFL out talk since we're playing on
Since we're
Sunday.
already Sunday.
Right. There's a lot of good games coming up this week, and the tournaments, the Thanksgiving tournaments, are very exciting. And we're looking forward to all of it.
So in the 4 o'clock window right now.
I'm going to talk about the first 1 o'clock window with Steelers.
I was just going to give a quick update.
All right.
Denver is beating Atlanta as of recording 28-6 in the 4th. Seattle or San Francisco is beating Seattle.
Putting the whooping on there on Atlanta. Good God Almighty.
17-13, and Buffalo is beating Kansas City in the 3rd. With tonight, Cincinnati goes to LA.
Cincinnati. And we had the main game out of the first 1 o'clock session is definitely the Steelers beating the Ravens at home to move to 8-2. Who had them at 8-2 right now?
Actually, I did not, but that is not the game of the day so far. Not even close.
Oh Lord.
A real NFL rivalry.
No.
A real NFL
I just
rivalry.
everybody's got to say, oh no.
The Packers won their 11th in a row against the Bears.
Okay.
Jordan Love has continued the trend that Aaron Rodgers has done and owned the Bears.
And America wins tonight. The Cowboys tomorrow night. America wins tomorrow night where the Texans beat the Cowboys.
I think that'll be a very likely situation. No, but the Packers won on a blocked field goal to beat the Bears.
This man right here is a Patriots fan, and I pulled up in the yard today. He's wearing Packers shirt. Are you serious? Oh, Thursday night football. Eagles with a big win over the Commanders. The Commanders are, like I said before, they're good. They're on their way, but they're still young.
They're a young team. They'll get it together. Rapid fire. Oh, is Doug Peterson fired in the morning?
No.
Sir.
I understand, but the Lions, I mean, they're blowing everybody out. So
fair.
They're gonna fire the whole league.
Would you say if it wasn't against the Lions, would you fire him?
No.
You give him to the end of the year. Okay.
Then let's move on to next week. We got the big rivalry next week. The America wins again. Washington beats the Cowboys. We're just gonna pick that. I'm gonna pick every team the Cowboys play from now on. I'm going against them.
Valid. I will give you that. Patriots go to Miami to play the Dolphins. We're going to lose that game. We're embracing the tank in Foxborough.
Trying to get Travis Hunter.
Tank for Travis.
I think Bill Belichick would love that kind of guy on his team.
He would too.
Then we have the 49ers traveling to Green Bay, take on the Packers.
Boy,
and you're going to like what I'm going to say here. Green Bay wins.
I think so, because it's not the playoffs.
They haven't really played great football, completely great football, but they're 7-3, and that's all that matters. The Eagles travel to LA to take on the Rams on Sunday Night Football, and the Eagles are starting to get on a little bit of a roll too. Yeah, but they're like the Packers to me. They haven't played great football. They're just plugging along 8-2. They're going to win the division by a landslide probably now. So they're in the playoffs and they're ready to roll.
Actually, both LA teams are going to be at home while I'm there.
Right. So you might get catch out an NFL game.
Maybe. We'll see.
All right.
We'll see what the schedule is.
And the next Monday night, a pretty important game because the Chargers play the Bengals tonight in a pretty important game. I think the Chargers probably pull that one out. To me, I don't think Burrow can win close games. I think the Chargers have a better coach and team to win that close game.
I agree.
The next week, they play the Ravens at home in a Monday night game.
In a hardball.
A hardball. I like that. Yeah, like they was in the Super Bowl in 2010?
What are we, Dr. Seuss?
Probably so.
Weird, messed up Dr. Seuss.
You want to talk about the Grey Cup before we head off the air?
Yes, as of right now, the Canadian Football League's Grey Cup, their equivalent to the Super Bowl, is going on right now in Vancouver. And as of recording,
please help us.
I don't think it has actually started yet. It's at 6 o'clock.
This is what we're closing the show with.
My prediction, it's, I don't like Toronto. Nobody likes Toronto. Nobody in Toronto likes Toronto.
Are we in Toronto?
No, we are not.
Yay. And A.
I don't like Winnipeg.
Calgary, I like it because of Brett the Hart family.
Calgary,
Hey.
the Stampeders.
Yeah.
I actually have Stampeders shirt in my room.
That rhino bastard. You got to hire in the rhino bastard.
With that being
That's
said,
my
I
Steve Harden impression for the night.
think I shot. I
You know,
think
Steve Harden is.
Winnipeg gets it done.
If you can talk about something like this, I can talk about wrestling.
Valid. I don't even know what wrestling's coming up.
Well, I'm not, I'm a nostalgia guy now. I haven't watched much real wrestling. Like what's called current wrestling. I'm a nostalgia guy.
Valid.
So anything else you want to talk about? Talk about your trip real quick to LA.
So I'm gonna see some family friends. We're gonna go do a lot of cool things. Gonna go hit some beaches up. We're gonna go into LA proper.
See how he says that LA proper. Don't say it like that. Don't trust.
What am I too bougie for that?
I mean, LA proper. How do you know it's called LA proper?
You know what I mean. I'm going to.
I asked you a question. How do you know it's called LA proper? Don't avoid the question.
I actually asked.
Okay. So you didn't know originally?
No.
Okay. Are you wearing a Speedo?
Absolutely not.
Are you going to check out the women?
Absolutely not.
That's a lie.
Nah.
You sit there and said you're going to LA and not check out the women?
No.
I would say something on there, but it's a Sunday and I don't want to fess. But you're crazy.
Nah, just
trust me. If I was in LA, I'd probably be checking out the women among other things.
I would be bailing you out. No, like that's Vegas.
That's anyway I go.
New Orleans.
But also, like we said before during the show, next week we're going to go live on Wednesday night after the Carolina Tar Heels beat UConn for the Valley title.
We will keep you updated on our social medias as the week progresses. And we are once again thankful for y'all's love and support of the show.
Like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up. And also ring the bell if you possibly can. Absolutely. So you can know when the next episode drops. And we will see y'all in about 10 days. Go Vols. Go Knowles. And go Tar Heels.